Heidi Bauman, president of the Wisconsin Women's Business Initiative Corporation, better known as WWBIC, and we're here again with WWBIC Cooking Up Business. And today we have a great husband and wife team, Tortilleria, I practiced it, Zepeda. Heidi and Julian Zepeda are going to talk about their food and beverage business, making unbelievable tortillas we'll talk about, and then are going to demonstrate a recipe that I can't wait to see. I've heard it's a little bit like, and I hate to even say that, but a little bit like a lasagna made with tortillas. So I can't wait. Welcome both of you to the show. We're thrilled to have you here. So this show, great to have you. This show, WWBIC Cooking Up Business, we've had for 2021. And we invite entrepreneurs that we've had the opportunity of working with at WWBIC to talk a little bit about themselves personally, their life journey, and brought them to where they are right now in Wisconsin, running a food and beverage business. We then like to hear about their entrepreneurial and business journey, if you will, the trials and tribulations, the things that have worked and maybe some of the things that haven't worked, so we all can learn as we go down a path of starting or growing or expanding a business. And then we definitely have to have a cooking demonstration or it wouldn't be a cooking show. And then we usually end with some sage advice from our business owners. Again, thoughts and ideas as you, the viewing audience, are thinking about starting that business or are starting that business and ready for growth and accelerating and expanding, because I know Zepeda is definitely interested and in growth mode and is doing already a great job of that, getting market share and getting those tortillas out in retail and wholesale mode. Or if you're just looking again for some tips and tricks as you advance your business. So thank you all for being part of the show. And we'll start it out with Julian and Heidi, maybe telling us each a little bit about yourself first.
Sure. Well, thank you for the introduction, Wendy, and inviting us to this awesome show so we can share our business journey. My name is Heidi Zepeda, and I grew up in rural Wisconsin on a grass-fed organic beef farm. So I'm a Wisconsin girl at heart.
And, and I guess you could say a little bit in the food and beverage business, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was your family farm too?
Yeah, we had a family. It was, back in the 80s before grass-fed and organic beef was as like cool and trendy as it is now.
Yeah.
Dad was a little ahead of his time. And so I grew up on the farm. I was a farm girl. Good organic local food was a priority in our household. So I, kind of had that agriculture food background, in my childhood.
Yeah, no, excellent. And I do know a little bit about food and so on. And while I am a vegetarian, when I do get my dad a special hamburger or something, I get grass-fed. And I always make a big deal about it. And he actually says, this is really better. This is really good, Wendy. So that's great. But it is interesting about being ahead of the curve, before things happen, just even on the organic trend and then certainly grass-fed. So great. And Julian?
Yeah, my name is Julian Zepeda, and I'm originally from Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco. I moved here 5 years ago. And after my first couple years, I started missing Mexican food. So I started making my own tortillas, and it's kind of how Tortilleria Zepeda burned.
Good. And so the tortillas that you found around here, I mean, there's a lot. There's some great people that make, I'm sure, some great tortillas, but you just found it. These are not my tortillas. These are not the Mexican tortillas. You just felt that.
Yeah, the thing is that I went to many Mexican restaurants, or in general, any restaurant who was serving tacos. And the thing with the tortillas is there's a lot of the tortillas they use, they're industrialized tortillas with many chemicals and preservative, and it just changed the flavor and the texture of the tortilla.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, again, I have your tortillas here. I have people bring them to me. Keep them in the freezer because I always have to have your tortillas. So just so you know, I have them here. I have other tortillas too. There's some great folks. El Rey, I think, makes a really good tortilla, very large and so on in the Milwaukee area. But let's just give the audience a basic on tortillas de harina, tortillas de maíz.
And I think a distinction too, Julian's going to do a great job explaining tortillas de maíz, but then there's two categories of tortillas de maíz: nixtamalized tortillas de maíz, and then industrialized. So, but I'll let the experts
talk a little bit about that. Again, I think sometimes want to United States bash, but sometimes the United States go, well, I'll have a tortilla. And I'm going like, well, what kind of tortilla? Because not only is there flour and corn tortilla, but you, I think, sell 3 different kinds of corn tortillas. I've had all of them, the red, the green, the white, and I think you're maybe traditional with the more the yellow corn. So, you know, give us just the 101 of tortillas so we know, and then the distinction of Zepeda tortilla.
Well, to be corn tortilla, like nixtamalized, so that like we made tortillas in Mexico, you just need 3 ingredients, which are corn, water, and pickling lime that we use to cook the corn. And practically you just have to cook the corn and grind it. And then you make a really nice dough, like we call masa. And then we convert that into tortillas. And yeah, it's like a really artisanal process. It's kind of, it's how my ancestors did a while ago, and also like how they still doing it in Mexico.
Yeah. And there's some corn tortillas that are sold in the market today that have many ingredients on them. So if you back of your package of a corn tortilla, maybe in the grocery store that's not in the refrigerator or the freezer, you might see a bunch of ingredients you can't even pronounce. That's tortilla can safely live on that shelf without molding. So
forever.
Yeah, with the industrialization of tortillas, we kind of lost a lot of companies lost this artisanal nixtamalized approach, like Julian mentioned, just because it's faster and cheaper. So if our distinction of our corn tortillas is we're doing it back the original way that Julian ancestors did thousands of years ago, which is the simple ingredients. So that's one distinction with the corn tortillas, nixtamalized versus just corn tortillas with ingredients. And then, like you mentioned, flour tortillas, which is a totally different product made, with flour and other ingredients to make it.
Yeah, and they have their place. I'm a corn tortilla gal. I'm always a corn tortilla gal. I do have flour tortillas once in a while for that, but I'm corn tortilla. And the other thing about your tortillas and the tortillas in Mexico, the corn ones, they hold together. So many of the corn ones here in the United States, even the ones before I not only buy yours, but before that, they break. I mean, even if you heat them and moisten them with the towel in the microwave, you heat them with the tin foil in the oven or over the stove, a clamato, what have you, they're still breaking. I can't stand that when I'm having a fish taco. I want it to hold together, and yours hold together.
Yeah, and we can give you a little, background or scientific reason why. Do you want to explain why ours hold together?
Yeah, the thing is, like in the corn, the pericarp, which is like the first layer of the corn. And when you're cooking the corn, that part is like really important because it creates like a natural bond in the tortilla. And that process is called the gelatinization. Is what just the skin kind of like help to create that elasticity in the. And that's important. Also provides fiber, and that's the difference in some tortillas who subtract that part of the corn. And then the tortilla, they need to add chemicals to make it a little more elastic, even though it's not like the same texture of the tortilla, just use all corn.
Yeah, so corn has all the natural properties to bond together and make a perfect tortilla. But when you just strip out the cornstarch, like Julian said, just take that out, you need to add other ingredients, otherwise it doesn't hold up. So it's really tragic in a lot that with industrialization, they've stripped the corn of any nutrient that it actually has, which majority is in the skin of that corn, just like most fruits and vegetables, all the in the skin. When you remove that and then remove the endosperm, you're left with a nutritionless product, really, that doesn't hold up and doesn't have the integrity. And there are some companies that do use just corn, calcium hydroxide and salt, but they've sped up the process and might have genetically modified that corn so that it can be a little better shelf life, and the nixtamalization process might just be like a quick couple hours. They don't allow that soaking process to happen. So that's why too, in some tortillas, you'll see, the ingredient just says corn and calcium hydroxide and salt. Why isn't it holding up? Well, what kind of corn are they using? What is their process where they're trying to just kind of get by saying we do nixtamalization, but clearly it's evident when the tortilla falls apart. They're step in that artisanal nixtamalization process, which is so crucial to have a nutrient-rich, durable, amazing tortilla.
Because again, you see with those kind of tortillas, it always bugs me when they do the double tortilla. It's because it's gonna, I go like, okay, I'm hoping it's gonna be okay, but it's gonna break. That's why they gave me the 2 tortillas. One's gonna break and the other one there. Your tortillas, you do not need to double your tortillas. They're fabulous. Okay, so a little bit before we start cooking, we gotta keep moving here. I could just talk the whole time about tortillas, and it's so interesting, the art and the science of it. Entrepreneurial journey. So Julian, you go, I'm not getting my tortillas here. I live here. I'm gonna set up my life here, perhaps. I'm gonna make my own tortillas. So you go, okay, I'm going to start a tortilla business. Tell us about that. Tell us how WWBIC helped you.
Yeah, so I'm a marine biologist. And when I moved here, I was working in a genetic lab almost for 2 years. And at the same time, I was trying to just make tortillas like selfishly for me, because I couldn't get any good tortillas. And I was trying to make like the recipes that I'm going to make today. And that was so hard because, yeah, the tortilla falls apart and it wasn't working. So I said, you know what? I'm just going to start making my own. I'm going to go to the farmer's market and buy a little corn. I'm going to cook the corn. I'm going to do the whole nixtamalization, and I'm going to grind it. And we have like a meat grinder, like a really small. So I was just grinding the corn like 3 times just to give the perfect consistency of the masa. And I started making tortillas for me. And then I started like sharing. I want to share with some friends and coworkers. So I started sharing tortillas, and they all love it. And they started asking me, hey, can I buy some tortillas from you? And it's when I see the opportunity, and then knowing how much joy I was having just to making something with my hands, I was just feeling really like fulfilled and happy, just like creating art. I was not just like an artist doing something, and more when people enjoy it. And I said, you know what? I think I'm just quit my job. I'm gonna do this, even if it's really small. I'm gonna go sell to farmers markets, knocking doors, or whatever it has to be. But I want to do this for a living. And locally, we have a great success and help with the community, which is amazing here in Madison. Like people were just helping me, like somebody knew somebody, and that somebody knew a chef, and the chef wanna try the tortillas, and it's been like a really good like circle.
Yeah, I think I still have a text message of Julian saying, Heidi, I've got the business for us. And but just to follow up on your question too of WWBIC. So yeah, Julian had this great idea. Things were going well in our home kitchen. So then it kind of was like, okay, how do we make this a business? You know, it's one thing, we got friends and family that like it, great ideas, but obviously, you know, we need some funding support. We need a commercial space. We need the equipment. And with really, you know, we were bootstrap. We didn't have rich, uncles and family members to just throw money at us. So yeah, when we realized we needed some funding for the equipment, we reached out to WWBIC. Through just some searches, I, found out all the nonprofits in Madison, and I was like, hey, WWBIC, we want to make tortillas. And, we generated, enough sales with some farmers markets and friends and family, and we had a projection, and WWBIC was an amazing partner throughout the whole journey. Without having a business background with me or Julian, it was, like, well, how do you start? Get that. And so even with the like loan process, they helped us create our projections, because they have financial documents like, we don't have that. We don't have a profit and loss. We don't have projections. So even just the guidance in kind of giving us the tools and resources to prepare all the documents needed to request funding was really, really crucial. And it didn't feel like we were so alone. There's some moments in our journey where you feel alone. We didn't have friends and family, like I said, to really, rely on of how to go about doing it. So crucial, and we got funding and was able to purchase the equipment we needed and the space we needed to just hit the road.
Excellent. Okay, good. Real quick, and then we're going to go on to cooking. So right now, could you just give a sense of maybe how many distribution sites do you have? Are you still a little bit more Greater Madison? Are you trying to get tentacles in other markets? Because part of the show too is we want people to watch it and they're going to go, restaurant owners and chefs are going to go, I got to get some of those tortillas and try them. So give us a little state of the state right now on where you're at with your distribution.
Sure. So yeah, we're pretty predominantly in the Madison area in a lot of the major grocery stores, Metcalf's, Hy-Vee, Woodman's, Willie Street. We have since expanded. We have a distributor, Elegant Foods, who helps us to kind of distribute throughout the state. So we're in, he helps us with some of the Milwaukee markets. So if you're a, chef, retailer looking, Elegant Foods is the distributor. Now we're talking to a distributor in Chicago. Things aren't quite finalized yet, so I can't quite release distributors, but we're in conversations to get into the Chicago market more. We do sell to a farm stand, like a farm grocer down in Chicago. But yeah.
Good. What we'll do too for the viewing audiences, we will put on later when we do the credits, we will put on places where individuals can currently buy your tortillas. Because again, what I do, because it's not too much in the Milwaukee market, I always have someone when they go to Madison, go and get them for me. So I have them. Because I live in the Milwaukee market. So
we're in Metcalf's Wauwatosa now.
Okay, good. Good to know. Good to know. Okay, let's cook. Tell us what you're going to make. Let's go.
All right. Well, today I'm gonna make a pastel Azteca, and it's kind of like a Mexican lasagna. And now I'm gonna just show you the ingredients you need, and it's really, really, really easy, And I'm just gonna show you the ingredients.
Sure.
So, most important, you need tortillas from Tortilleria Zepeda. You need good tortillas to make this dish, and some chicken, cooked chicken, and you just have to
shred it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And some melted cheese. This one is Gouda, but you can use any melted cheese. Maybe like white cheddar goes really well. And salsa. Practically, you can get really creative with this, and even with your salsa. You can even purchase already made salsa. Sometimes, if you don't have time, you can just buy it, but I encourage you to make your own salsa. It's super easy.
So is that a salsa verde with tomatillos?
Yeah, exactly.
Great, excellent. It's one of my favorites too. Oof.
This one is, things go really well with this recipe because it tastes really good with the cheese. And practically it's just tomatillos and serranos, chile serrano pepper, onion, and garlic.
Okay, good. Now, have you boiled the tomatillos?
Yeah, these are already boiled. I have this ready to go. Okay. But you can also make it you can cook it in the grill. You can make like a little more smoky. You can really do any salsa that you like. It will go really well with this recipe. And you also need a little sour cream up here. And I like to use Greek yogurt. It's like a little more protein and healthy, but goes good with any of those. You just need a little cream. So right now I'm just gonna mix the ingredients for the salsa.
Yeah, and again, for the viewing audience, there's some very good canned or jarred salsas, but number one, you're gonna pay for it. Number two, it really is simple. I mean, look what he's done. He's boiled or he's charred the tomatillos, the green, sort of tomatoes, tomatillos. He has some garlic clove in there, some serrano peppers or pepper that you like, serrano or a little bit more on the mild side, a little bit of onion. He's actually just boiled that, or again, he could have roasted and charred it. He's throwing it in the blender. You're done. You're done. So the cost of that, Julian, is, really nominal, those vegetables, as opposed to buying a jar smaller for $5.99, $6.99, $9.99 in a store.
Yeah, that's true. I forget to mention the Perejil, how you call the cilantro? It's
The
cilantro, right?
cilantro, yeah.
Cilantro is really good flavor to the salsa. It's important.
Good. Good.
So the trick in this to make it a little like creamy, this is also like you can kind of like do how you like better, but this is how my grandma do it, and then you just gonna do 2 tablespoons. This is the Greek yogurt.
Let's see, this is a secret already now that I'm learning. I would not have done that with my salsa, so I'm already learning here. The Greek yogurt, or again, the sour cream for those that like the sour cream. But both of those, the yogurt and the sour cream, have that sort of smack, that little bit of sort of bite to it. So.
And just a little splash of milk just to make it creamy. Really little splash. Also can be almond or whatever is your favorite milk. And a little salt, just like one teaspoon.
Mhm.
Actually, 2 teaspoons. So a little flavor. And something I learned from my mom to make salsas to have like a good balance between spicy and flavor is for every 2 tomatoes, tomatillo or red tomato, you use 1 chili pepper. And then it's like a good spice. You know, if you like more, good ratio. And if you like more spicy, just add a little couple more jalapenos or serranos.
Okay. And then for folks that wanted lighter, they of course could take the seeds out of the serrano or the jalapeno. It'll still have some nice flavor, but not quite the bite. The seeds and the ribs, if you will, give it the piquant to it. And it really blends really, really quickly when you have them boiled. Okay.
Ready. So now we have the salsa ready. And we're gonna start with the recipe. We're gonna just preheat your scale. You need your heating element.
Pan.
And yeah, and so what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna cook the tortillas with a little oil, but not for too long. It's gonna be just like a really quick cook. We don't want to deep fry the tortillas.
Just to kind of soften them up
Mm-hmm.
a little bit to make them mendable.
Where do you make your tortillas while you're demonstrating here? Do you have a spot where you go and make the tortillas and package them?
Yeah, we have a facility in Lone. Is where we have the whole tortilleria. We have the machine and the nixtamal tank where we cook the corn. And yeah, we do everything in our facility.
Nice.
Yeah, I make food for me here in my kitchen.
Great. Yeah, your packaging is nice. I like the packaging. It's simple. It's nice. Sort of shrink wrapped. Got your name on it. You got all of the ingredients again, which are so few because it's all fresh. Yeah, it looks good. Looks great.
Yeah, the other fun thing about our tortilleria is located, like I said, in Lone Rock, which is only like 5 miles from where I grew up. So it's kind of my old stomping ground.
Okay. I was going to ask where the farm was that you grew up on. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, the elementary school there. So it's kind of fun and nostalgic to be back. And yeah, the owner of the building where our tortilleria is worked alongside my dad in the 80s. He was a pioneer in organic farming, Gary Zimmer. So he also knew me when I was little. So
yeah,
kind of cool connection.
Good. Okay, let's keep it going here. We got to keep moving. So show us how we're going to make it happen.
All right, now that we have the oil ready, for this recipe, I'm just making enough like for 3 people.
Sure.
So 10 tortillas from Tortilleria Zepeda. And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna cook the tortillas. We call this sofreír in Mexico. It's just we're gonna kind of like just cook with oil, but like really little. We don't want to deep fry the tortillas.
And that coats them a little bit. So that's also going to be helpful so they don't get soggy.
Mhm.
Heidi, do you work full-time in the business or do you work outside? In addition,
I work full-time in Tortilleria Zepeda. Actually, my 1-year anniversary of leaving my corporate job was July 31st, 2020. So.
Okay. And Julian is also full-time, so both of you.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you have any employees yet at this point?
We have some part-time help who kind of come in and out. You know, I'm fortunate to have a sister who helps with sales. We pay her in tortillas right now. So, but yeah, that's our next big growth step. We had a couple interviews this month, so we're looking to get get some staff.
Great. Good. That's
So
wonderful.
when you have your tortilla like really soft and nice, so you're gonna start making some layers. You're gonna get your what do you call it, container?
Pan. Yeah, for the oven.
Yeah, for the oven. And so you're gonna start making your layers. It's gonna be similar like making a cake. That's why Pastel Azteca, pastel is cake. So we're gonna make just layers with all the ingredients. And the first one is always the tortillas. We're gonna start creating the first layer here.
Good. We'll probably just have time for you to show us one layer, but then we'll understand how it goes.
Yeah.
So the tortillas first, and then I'm thinking probably the chicken, the queso, and then at the very end, do you put all of the salsa, or do you do it in between the layers?
Yeah, at the end. Yeah, you can
In
do
the
it
end.
in the end. So right now I have the tortillas, and then I'm just gonna put some of the chicken on it.
And really, you can get creative too. Like, Wendy, I think you mentioned you're a vegetarian. Clearly, you could put anything you really want to substitute that chicken and have fun.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually thinking that's really, couldn't you?
And then we're gonna do the cream
I see you dollop some of the cream.
just to cover everything. And
Or again, you could do vegetables too, Heidi, right? In between, if you wanted to,
Sure.
make it like the vegetable lasagna, vegetable pastel.
Yeah, absolutely. Or some poblanos.
Yeah, I think the poblanos would be really great.
then we're gonna make a layer of cheese. The cheese is really important. You can just use a lot of it, and it's good.
Wisconsin style.
Yeah.
See, we sometimes mix the Wisconsin influence with Mexican. More cheese, more cheese.
Cheese and tortillas go well together too.
They
Yeah.
do.
Yeah,
And then the end is gonna be the salsa.
okay.
Pour the salsa on it, a lot of it,
Nice.
just to cover everything.
Nice.
And practically we're done. This is the first layer. Then
Yeah.
you can make as many layers you want. You can make like a huge cake.
Sure.
And the last step will be just a bake for 10 minutes just to melt the cheese.
Okay.
Yeah. So we
The
just have
your chicken's really pre-done. So again, you want it all nice, hot and bubbly, but you really don't have to cook something because the chicken's already done.
Yep, absolutely. Yep, you have your chicken pre-cooked. So this is just the layer, and if he wants to go further, he'll keep adding
Yeah.
some more layers.
Great. Good. Okay, well, we need to wrap it up a little bit. So Heidi, Julian, talk to the people, talk to our audience who are in business now, have that big light bulb over their head. They're thinking about it. They're going, wow, I would love to take my product to a farmer's market, or I really think I have something. If Heidi and Julian can do it, maybe I can do it too. Give some advice to the entrepreneurs and business owners out there.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I think to start any business is really important, and I think to really be passionate about it, to be ready. Like if you need to work a lot and you don't know if you're gonna start making money, but you have to enjoy it a lot. So I think passion and consistency are the key for my experience.
Yeah, but also alongside of that, one big learning for me is, Julian really had the deep passion, and my passion grew along along with this business, but there was some hesitations at first. And so I would also encourage people to, really trust your instinct. And because there's gonna be a lot of people wanting to give you advice a lot, and I think there's some that have good intentions, or some that, think they might know more than you. And you have to trust your instincts, because I think so many people came at us from different angles. Well, if you do this, do you think about this? Do you think about that? And really trusting yourself and blocking that advice, even if sometimes it's good advice, if it doesn't resonate with you, don't overthink it.
Yeah, I think that's beautiful. I think that's actually some of the wisest comments that I've heard really in some of the cooking shows, is that because there's a lot of voices in life, there are, right? With the family, a lot of voices on how to raise the kiddos, a lot of voices on what you should do with your life. And it is your life, and it is your business. And you might make an incorrect mistake, but you did it yourself. Right. Hopefully it won't be fatal. You can come back from it, but listening, I do think is important. And then you ultimately have to take the path and direction that you need, that you feel is right at the time for the two of you or for an individual in business. So that's great wisdom. That's great wisdom. And I'm definitely behind passion. Goes a long way.
Yeah. And also love your product, and don't just do something because, we don't make flour tortillas because we don't necessarily like them. There could be a great market for us, but people have been telling us, you got to do flour tortillas. We're like, nope, actually we don't.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. For a while, WWBIC had a coffee business, Coffee with a Conscience. And I think coffee should be coffee, right? You don't put these flavors in it. Okay. Maybe alcohol once in a while at the end of the evening, but coffee is coffee. Good coffee. Ours was only organic, fair trade, fairly traded coffee. And so for a couple of years, I said, no, you're not going to put these flavors in it, hazelnut and walnut kind of stuff. And finally, the team said, well, Wendy, we really have to, because that's how people like their coffee. But I didn't like it. I never liked it, and that's sort of this. It's like, flour tortillas are great. We don't like them. We're not gonna make them, and that's the beauty of an entrepreneur too, that you can stick to your guns and you can do that. Thank you both.
Your philosophy, and don't change your
vision.
Your vision. You always be really honest and really transparent for where you're doing. That gonna people noticing that, and they appreciate those things.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, we wish you the best. We'll continue to support you. I'll continue to eat your tortillas. I'm definitely going to make that without the chicken, probably with fish or a vegetable. But thank you so much for being on the show. WWBIC Cooking Up Business. And again, we'll share the recipe and we'll share where you can get these great Zepeda tortillas, because they are fabulous. Everybody really that's watching has to try them, because you will see day and night from other tortillas. You just really, really, really will. So gracias. Thank you.
Gracias. Thank you so much. Pleasure.